live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. Friday, October 13th, we're going in depth tonight on the annular solar eclipse just hours away. We've talked a lot about that darn eclipse. What is it? We'll look into it as we dive in. But let's take a look at what's making your headlines first. You can find all these stories right now on our website, KUTV.com. The man who's been recovering at the U after being attacked by a grizzly bear, now heading home. His name is Rudy Norlander. He's in good spirits, as you can see, but he was attacked by a bear near Big Sky, Montana 5 weeks ago. He says he hopes to be able to drink a root beer float soon and that he can say a couple of words. Clearly, he has a good sense of humor at this point, which is nice. The International Olympic Committee has given Utah the approval needed to apply for 2 separate years to host the Winter Olympics. Utah has applied to host the Winter Olympics in 2030, 2034, looking like the latter. The nation's capital on high alert right now as the conflict between Israel and Hamas escalates, among others in the region. Top security officials are increasing their presence at the U.S. Capitol and putting up more barriers there. Leaders are celebrating the historic number of women currently serving in the state legislature. Another winning a state election in Senate District 22. Once she takes office, there will be 14 GOP women in the legislature. That is a new record. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us during the show. We hope you do. Use the hashtag 2NewsLive to join our conversation or just send a message. It's that easy to do. Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram. Send a DM there to weigh in and check in and say hello. Get your glasses ready. The annular solar eclipse will be visible across much of Utah tomorrow as people head to different parts of the state to catch the eclipse. Traffic, of course, a top concern for Utah Department of Transportation and Utah Highway Patrol. Ariel Harrison is live. I knew you were along the freeway earlier today, Ariel, but what did law enforcement tell you basically about today and tomorrow and what they're looking at as it pertains to traffic?
Brian, they are expecting a lot of people on the roads. 318,000 is what they're projecting at this point. They being UDOT, UHP. That's because we have the eclipse watchers that are traveling to different portions of the state to see that. Some of them coming from out of state, but also it's fall break here in Utah. So we have over 20 different school districts and also some of the universities that are out of school on vacation hitting the roads. So they're really trying to drive home. Hey, you won't be alone if you are traveling, so they want you to keep that in mind. To help, UHP and UDOT have been working together with some of the different local agencies to really open up the highways for those who will be traveling because, again, they are anticipating there will be a lot of people on the roads as they go to these different locations. They are focusing on the different construction zone areas on interstates to open up additional lanes. A few years ago, there was a solar eclipse in Idaho. We saw major backups at that time. UDOT told me today that at that point, they were seeing 8 to 10 hour delays on the road. They really want to avoid that this time around. So they're really just trying to send the messaging out. If you're gonna be on the road, plan, anticipate, and if you don't want to get caught in that stuff, stay home. You can see it from the Salt Lake Valley. In fact, we're just not in the eclipse's main path from my understanding.
Ariel, the signs have been up for a while, so UDOT has been at this for at least a few weeks now, telling you to avoid certain areas. Do they have any peak travel times they're most concerned about? Are there certain time frames tonight, tomorrow that they're saying, hey, maybe just try to weave those plans around if you are trying to take in all of this?
UDOT told me today they are asking people if you can stay an extra day. They're expecting just directly after the eclipse that's when it will be the worst time on the roads. They think that, people are staggering their arrival times today into tomorrow morning, but right after the event itself is over, they think that's when everyone's just going to try and be getting home, which will be the worst time to be on the roads. That's when they expect to see delays, if any. And so they are just encouraging, if you can spend an extra day, do so. Enjoy the beautiful scenery if you're heading to central or southern Utah. But otherwise, they think people will be staggering their arrival times up to the point of the event. So I'd say tomorrow afternoon, Saturday into Saturday evening will be pretty rough on the roads.
Ariel, thank you very much. Continuing our Eclipse team coverage tonight, hundreds of thousands planning to spend their Saturday in central and southern Utah. Get a look at Richfield tonight. They're having a big party on Main Street. Obviously a nice community event. You'd have to imagine there are some folks out there getting excited to take in the sights, right? Very close to that main path that we're looking at. Let's check in with Lincoln Graves. Tough assignment, Lincoln, live at Bryce Canyon National Park. One of my favorites there. What are park officials expecting, Lincoln?
Yeah, Brian, I hope you can hear me over some of the breezy conditions we're seeing here, but they're expecting thousands of people. They're not exactly sure what it's going to equal. They brought up the 2012 annular eclipse in May of that year where they saw about 10,000 people, but they also explained that since then they have had busier normal weekends, and they've also said population has grown, visitation numbers are up, and they're expecting a lot of people to be more aware of eclipses. So they're not exactly sure, but they expect to at least meet that or exceed that 10,000 mark. And they say they have 1,000 parking spaces inside the park. So obviously not everybody's going to be able to find a place to park. Once all those spaces fill up, they're going to close it to private vehicles, and everyone will have to take a shuttle, Brian.
Well, you make a good point there, Lincoln. Bryce Canyon's not a huge national park, but does get the attention for the obvious eye-catching colors. How is the turnout in that area right now? I mean, it's really one way in, one way out to that main entry point to the park. Are there lots of people there tonight?
Yeah, there are lots of people, but I spoke with the Park Service about that, and they say, it really is hard to say whether these are just people passing through normally because this is a popular national park, or whether they're actually here for the eclipse. I ran into a couple people who they did come to Utah to see the eclipse, but they weren't going to be in Bryce Canyon. They were going to be elsewhere. Some people going to Beaver County, other people going elsewhere. But since they were here, they decided to stop in, see Bryce Canyon. Perhaps they're visiting some other national parks. So it really is a chance, if you're not going to watch it from Bryce Canyon National Park, to see the park on your eclipse trip. Brian?
Lincoln Graves live tonight from Bryce Canyon National Park. Lincoln, have a great time. Thank you for joining us on 2 News Live. If you're planning to watch the eclipse, we would love to see what you see. Just snap a photo or a video. I mean, it's going to be tough maybe with the old cell phone camera, so maybe be a little bit, judicial with what you're sending our way here. But if you got a great shot, we'd love to see it. Send it in the Chime In feature. Maybe we'll toss it out there at a gallery on our website or on our social media channels, or right here on KUTV 2 News. A warning today from eye doctors saying those who remember the last eclipse that hit Utah could make a grave mistake this time, putting their very vision at risk. In 2017, another amazing eclipse passed over the state, and during the marvelous minutes of totality, you could safely take off the protective lenses at that point as the moon completely blocked the sun. But there's a key difference this time around. For tomorrow's eclipse, the moon is further, so it'll appear smaller in the sky. And so when it passes in front of the sun, edges will still peek through. Chase will talk about that, I think, in a sec. A little bit of the sliver of what most of us will see, meaning anyone looking up will get the direct rays of sun still shooting into their eyes.
The challenging thing about this eclipse, there really isn't ever a point at which it's safe to take those glasses off. There's never a point where the sun is going to be completely obscured. You need to have those glasses on the entire time you're viewing the eclipse.
Dr. Jeff Petty told us those who've stared at the eclipse like this one can get solar burns in the back of their eye, which can cause permanent damage to their vision. So the glasses. If you're not planning on going south to see the eclipse, the Clark Planetarium is hosting a viewing party in Salt Lake City. We'll still be seeing a partial eclipse. The moon will cover roughly 90% of the sun. So if you go to the Gateway at the Olympic Legacy Plaza between 9 a.m. and noon tomorrow, you can join the festivities, the free activities, sun prints, solar telescopes, sidewalk chalk. You can get $3 eclipse glasses from the planetarium tonight until 10:45, or tomorrow morning beginning bright and early at 7 a.m. I want to hear from you at home. Where do you plan to watch the solar eclipse? Scan the QR code on your screen to weigh in. Most of you saying northern Utah. So I get the sense if you are weighing in, you say northern Utah, maybe you're just not traveling. Love to see the number perking up there in southern and central Utah. And then there's 20% of you that say, I don't plan to watch the eclipse. Meteorologist Chase Thomason here with our first alert forecast. Are you going to take it in?
Yes, we show you what it looks like, the Ring of Fire, but what will it look like here in Salt Lake?
Sure.
I'm staying here. You staying here?
I'm staying here.
Okay, so this is what's going to look like. It's still going to be a really good partial eclipse here in Salt Lake City. So this is for tomorrow morning. The partial eclipse, it begins at 9:09 a.m. So you don't need to set your alarm at 9:09 a.m. I'd probably set it for 10:15, because by 10:28 is that maximum coverage of the moon blocking the sun. And we're roughly at about 91-92% here in Salt Lake City. So 92% of the sun is going to be blocked out. It's going to get a little hazy. It's not going to be pitch black, but it will get a little dark. If you think about what happened 6 years ago, I don't know if you were here for that eclipse here in Salt Lake.
Just before my time.
That was at about 93% coverage. So it's going to be very similar to what we saw 6 years ago. Now, the partial eclipse ends at 10:55 in the morning. Big question, though, Brian, is are we going to have cloud cover, or are we going to have clear skies and some good visibility? I think it's going to be very iffy. The skies are going to be clearing right around when that eclipse is peaking.
All right.
Here we go. Let's get right to your forecast, what you need to know. Now, it's not going to be raining or snowing. We don't have a big storm system at all, but again, some cloud cover will be rolling in. Hopefully it'll be just fine. We do have those cool nights and mild afternoons going forward as we head into the weekend. It's really nice. I mentioned the cloud cover for the eclipse. I think if you're going to be in central Utah, though, you'll have clear skies. It's portions of northern and eastern Utah that might have some clouds. The overall pattern, though, is looking dry. We've had this active October. That looks like it'll be coming to an end. Now, you can see a storm system impacting the west coast. That's the cloud cover that rolls in tonight and tomorrow morning. Right now, we just have a couple high clouds ahead of it. That will likely linger overnight, but any evening plans, it'll be dry. A little cool out there, so bundle up. Here's where we expect that ring of fire through portions of Nevada, central and southeastern Utah. Here's the cloud cover. This particular computer model has some lingering clouds in northern and eastern Utah right around 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy along the Wasatch Front, but it looks pretty clear where we have that ring of fire where everyone is traveling at the moment. Now for tonight, we'll have the clouds, but temperatures will be chilly, 30s and 40s across a good chunk of the state. Tomorrow, though, the warming trend really starts going. We'll be seeing some really nice weather by the afternoon. More clouds in the morning, more sunshine in the afternoon, and we'll be seeing highs right around 70. Highs in eastern Utah in the 60s and 70s, and St. George will be the warm spot at 80 degrees. High pressure is quickly sliding in from the southwest, so temperatures will likely peak Sunday and Monday. Now, there is a weak storm coming our way, but it looks like this ridge will kind of block that storm from really impacting us here in Utah. Yes, we'll see a little bit of wind and a slight cool down, but right now it looks like the rain will stay away from our state. And then high pressure builds back in as we head into the following weekend. So we're shaping up to have some really nice weekends in a row. So enjoy that. St. George, sunny. 84 by Sunday, 87 Monday and Tuesday, and then a slight dip, but not too bad, low 80s by the end of the week, and we keep it pretty sunny and dry down in southern Utah. Again, a few clouds tomorrow morning, 70, 73 on Sunday, 77 on Monday, and then that weak storm to our north will produce a few clouds, and it doesn't look too impressive right now. I mean, mid to upper 60s, that's still going to be near average with that cool down coming our way. And then the 70s are back on Friday. So I know we got all this rain in October, which has been great. So it's okay to just see some dry weather for a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, no complaints, especially if you want to get outside, prep some of those things before the winter. Get those
yard work.
Get those, nice foliage pictures in. Get out and kind of take it in before we sneak out of peak. I mean, we're running out of time, right?
Yeah, I don't know about your area, but I'm already losing a lot of leaves in my front yard.
Same
so
here.
They're already coming down.
It's right at that tipping point. But obviously, if you're going to go up to the mountains, can you still get out this weekend and see some good stuff?
There'll be some good stuff. This is probably your last weekend to see some really good stuff. By next weekend, I expect more leaves down. But again, nothing huge coming our way. So maybe they might be holding on.
Final Oktoberfest weekend at Snowbird. If you're heading out, maybe catch the Eclipse and then catch a Stein, however that works. Thanks for watching 2 News Live on this fine Friday.
You know how it works.
I know how it, yes. Learn from the master. See you on Monday, 5:30. We're back for a full week of 2 News Live. Have a wonderful weekend. Send your photos of the eclipse in, will you?
Yes.